LinkedIn. Oh, so you can see from LinkedIn. Let's see. Um, okay, so I just got the LinkedIn notification that's happening now. Just that also starts. Just a couple minutes. Let's get more people in. So I also shared the link to the podcast for people to
Hmm.
watch. Yeah.
And are you going to keep me honest on time?
No, no worries. I know you have a lot to share. Okay. Um, okay. I think we can go ahead. There are 22 people, okay, attendees on LinkedIn. So feel free to, yeah. Now we'll be monitoring the LinkedIn chats if people are dropping messages. So I'll just check, and then I'll paste the questions here.
Great. Awesome.
Right, I think I'll just kickstart. Welcome, everyone. Good to have you join us today for this webinar session with a very good friend and a career coach who will tell us today. And I hope you're ready to hear what will move you to the next level in terms of your career so that you can get the kind of jobs you want, you can get the promotion you want, and just have the career you desire. And Alec, who is a renowned coach, will be taking us through that. Um, I won't waste so much time, so he have enough time to just share the things he wants to share with us. So I will hand over to you at this point. Over to you, Alec.
Thank you, Wilson. Yeah, and great to see everyone, and really looking forward to sharing more with you on the call. So we'll dive in, and this talk is about 6 secrets to achieve six-figure promotions. So it's really about helping you guys understand how you can fast track your career. I'm Alec Ricard, and I'm a career coach and content creator. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about my career arc. So I had a 10-year career in corporate marketing at companies like L'Oreal and Johnson& Johnson, doing consumer brand marketing, so working on brands like Listerine and Aveeno, global beauty and healthcare brands. And I had a 10-year career, but I was promoted in a 7-year period from assistant manager on 40K a year to a global leadership role on 200K a year. And I'll take you through that journey a little bit today. And I also led 9-figure brands in that time, driving their strategy, and also received an international move from the UK to the US. So that was my corporate marketing career. And then in around 2020, um, I did some self-reflection, and I realized that supporting other people to achieve their career goals was something that really gave me a huge amount of reward. And so I invested in a career coaching course in that year. And since then, I've spent over 200 hours coaching ambitious professionals how to get promoted, how to fast track their careers. And I actually quit my full-time marketing role this year to go full-time on coaching, which has been a really exciting change. And now I get to do great events like this and share with you the insights that I've developed from all of that coaching experience. And finally, I'm a content creator. So in a classic story of failure, I actually posted on LinkedIn for 2 years straight, and really had limited success. I was getting like 10 likes a post on my LinkedIn, and I gave up at least twice, one for a 6 month period. But then a friend convinced me to give it one third and final go, and I invested in a content creation course, and that was a breakthrough moment for me. And I now have 63,000 professionals following me on LinkedIn for advice, and yeah, I'm really excited to be moving on to new platforms later this year. And I really see this part now of my career and my offering. And I recently launched a free email course, 7-day email course, 6 secrets to six-figure promotions, which this talk is based on, and which I'd encourage everyone to go and subscribe to get even more detail, and to have it on your email um, for whenever you want to reference it. So what are we actually talking about today? I really think this talk is about career strategy. And I think in our careers, we're often told certain stories that we accept as true. Like, if you want to get ahead, just work harder. If you want to get ahead, just perform as well as you can. And those things are important, but actually, I don't think to get promoted, you don't get promoted by working harder. You actually get promoted by developing an effective career strategy, and executing that strategy effectively and consistently and repetitively over a number of years. And that was really what happened in my corporate career. I noticed there were certain strategies that worked, every time I wanted to achieve an advancement in my career. And it didn't matter what level it was. It didn't really matter whether it was an internal opportunity or an external opportunity. It didn't matter if it was, getting promoted just within my team or moving into a new function. And even when it came to trying to get promoted internationally, um, these strategies worked in all of those contexts. And I think the harsh truth here is that we're taught many things at school and university and, um, across our lives, but I don't think anyone ever teaches you how to advance your career. No one teaches you about career strategy, not at school, not at university, and certainly not at work. I don't think companies ever sit their employees down and say, "This is how you can get ahead in your career." Um, and that's tough. So I think it means a lot of us are just trying to figure this out on the fly. We're going through our careers by trial and error. And actually, I do think there are certain strategies that you can use which are proven to, be effective in driving career advancement. Um, and so the strategy is follow those unspoken rules of the game. These aren't well publicized. Um, they're not something that people openly share with each other, I wouldn't say. And often the people that are getting ahead, top performers, as you might call them, they use these strategies to fast track their careers, but they're not necessarily sharing it with their peers. I certainly know that was true in my career. I found people sort of hesitant to talk about their careers and what worked and what helped them get promoted. So there are unspoken rules of the game, and that's really what this talk is about, is trying to reveal some of those secrets and what works. So I mentioned I was promoted 6 times in 7 years, and this is just an overview of that journey. So you can see I started as an assistant manager in 2016 at L'Oreal on 40K, and at the end of that 7 year period in 2024, I was a global senior manager on 200K, this time in the US at Johnson& Johnson. Um, and there was all of these promotions were different, um, and a couple that I just pick out were my move from brand manager to senior brand manager. That was the first time I was tasked with leading a team, so I became responsible for 2 team members, and that put a slightly different emphasis on the promotion. My promotion to marketing manager, I was headhunted. It was the first time that someone approached me through LinkedIn for a job, and the hardest one of all of them was actually the one from senior e-commerce manager to global marketing manager in March 2023. Um, my wife was offered a job in America, and I had to really graft for about 4 months straight to create an opportunity for myself in America. It was the hardest promotion I ever had to go for, and my company in the UK gave me zero help. They didn't offer me a visa. They said they don't promote people internationally, and the HR director in the UK said to me in a meeting, we don't help people move into abroad. You're going to have to do this on your own. So it just goes to show sometimes you have to make your career happen. And yeah, all of these different promotions were different. And I think the truth is that I learned something in each of those moves. Um, I think that's really important in your career is to take learnings as you go along, to actually reflect once you achieve a promotion, what worked there, what was effective in getting me that promotion. And I think each of these moves revealed to me a secret about career advancement, and also that there were similarities, there were consistencies across each of these moves that actually showed me that there were proven strategies that I could repeat that would be effective over time. So each of these moves revealed 6 secrets, and the critical part is to look at the insight that the secret reveals, or the learning opportunity reveals, and then turn that into a strategy. How do you repeat um, that execution again and again and again? And it is strategy which ultimately helps you to fast track your career. So that's what we're discussing today. I'll take you through some of those secrets, the strategies that the insight that the secret reveals, and then the strategy that you need to adopt to take advantage of it. And hopefully this is going to provide a useful template for you guys to seize your next career opportunity and go after what you really want. So these are the 6 secrets to six-figure promotions. They don't reveal the actual secret, but they're a tease on the secret. So secret number 1 is, behind all of these secrets is one ultimate career strategy. That's secret 1. And we're going to dive into that just in a moment. Secret 2 is the biggest mistake I made that I see people make every single day in their career. Secret 3 is the hidden timeline of promotions. So really thinking about how you time and manage time around your career. Number 4, which is my personal favorite, is why visibility equals opportunity. Secret 5, the simple behavior change you can make to secure your next promotion. And number 6, networking for influence, not for small talk. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't like networking. I think actually, in my experience, people think of networking as a dirty word. Um, but actually it's fundamental and it is effective in securing career promotions. So let's dive into these secrets. Number 1, the ultimate career strategy is to build leverage. And what do I mean by this? Fundamentally, your career is a negotiation. It's a negotiation between you and your employers. And you are negotiating on behalf of yourself for your career advancement. And you're trying to get the best possible deal you can. And the ultimate career strategy is to build leverage in that negotiation. And what do I mean by leverage? Leverage is the power that you hold in a negotiation. It's the cards that you hold. And fundamentally, your leverage is the sum of all of the value that you represent to a possible employer. So I'm talking about your time, I'm talking about your behaviors, I'm talking about your competencies, I'm talking about your presentation and image, I'm talking about your network, um, I'm talking about your expertise. All of those things represent your value, and the more valuable you are, the more leverage you have in those negotiations. And it is that which allows you to drive your career advancement faster. So the ultimate career strategy is to build leverage. The harsh truth is your company holds most of the negotiating cards. Companies are actually very hard to negotiate with because they actually control a lot of the environment, right? They control the jobs, they control the interview process, they control who is selected, um, they control the timing, they control the final decision. they control the salary. So companies have a lot of negotiating cards. But that's not to say that they have all the cards. You do have leverage, and you actually have leverage in two ways. You have leverage internally, the value that you represent in your current company, and you have leverage externally, leverage on the talent market. So talent is a marketplace, just in the same way that jobs are. It's a supply and demand market, and you can use your leverage in both areas, internally and externally, to generate more leverage against to negotiate in your career. So the strategy is, I think there's a lot of advice out there about how to build your career and building your career on skills, or building your career on passion, um, building your career on hard work. But I would actually say build your career on leverage and be very clear about building it before you need it. You want to acquire leverage and build leverage before you need to use it in a negotiation. And the critical piece is to make your value easy to see and easy to prove. The easier it is to see and the easier it is to prove, the more effective your leverage will be. So that is secret number one. The ultimate career strategy is to build leverage in negotiation. And all of the other secrets are designed in a way, and all the other strategies, all of your career strategies, in fact, should ultimately build into this ultimate career strategy of building leverage. But the first secret is revealing that leverage is the ultimate strategy. Number two, um, I made this mistake early in my career, and I see this people make this mistake all the time. In fact, I see them making it every day, almost automatically. Um, because the truth is, people run on autopilot in their career, um, and a lot of people wait for someone else to tell them what to do in their career. They wait for someone to say there's a job offering here, or they wait for their manager to say you're ready to be promoted. They want to hear someone validate and recognize you're ready. We see something in you. Apply for this role, apply for this promotion, or we've decided to promote you. And actually, that happens very, very rarely. Um, the I'll, let's see in the chat. Take a guess in my 10-year marketing career how many times I was offered a promotion without asking for it. Just put a number into the chat and let me know. And Wilson, you might need to let me know what answers come in because I can't see
Y-
them.
Yes, I'm waiting for them to drop it, and I will let you know.
How many times in 10 years, how many times do you think I was offered a promotion?
Someone said zero.
It's a very good, it's
Someone
a
said
very good
never. Another
never.
person said never. Yeah.
Right, you guys are pretty close to the right answer. Once in my
Once.
career was I offered a promotion without asking for it. And that's more often the case than not, right? And the secret here is you don't need permission to take control of your career. You don't need anyone else's approval or permission to go out and get what you want in your career. Um, the 9 other promotions, I went and asked for them. I went and applied. And often people told me, oh, you're not ready, or you can't do that. Like I said, that HR director, when I wanted to move to the US, said, we don't promote people internationally. So I just applied for jobs. I didn't wait for her permission to take control of my career. And the first time I became aware of this was I was actually it was the first role I ever got. I was coming off the graduate scheme at L'Oreal in marketing, and there was one brand in the business, in the whole of the business, and there's about 50 brands in L'Oreal. One of them was L'Oreal Men Expert. It was the men's brand, and I was like, that is my dream brand. I really want to work on that brand. But when I came off the grad scheme, there was no role on that team, and they said, oh, there's these 2 roles that you can apply. Go for those 2 roles. So I did. I applied for one of them, and I got them. I got that role. 4 months later, someone coming off the grad scheme was put onto L'Oreal Men Expert. And I knew the team leader, so I went and spoke to him and I said, how come? Like, how come I didn't think you took grads into your team. And he said, oh yeah, well, they came and saw me and they sat me down and they told me how much they wanted to be on the team and how much it was their dream role. And so we created it for them. They were just so passionate about it. And I was so angry. I was so frustrated, but not with him. I was obviously angry with myself because the only difference between that person and me was that they went and asked for the opportunity that they wanted. And that was when I realized I just took the two roles that they told me, right? They said, "Oh, here's two roles you applied for, go for it." And I said, "Oh, okay, well, I'll put aside my dream role and I'll just go and take the two roles that they gave me." So that was the moment I realized you don't need permission to take control of your career. You don't need permission to be proactive and go and ask for the opportunities that you want. And the harsh truth that this is revealing is that you can't rely on anyone else for your career advancement. You can't rely on your boss, your director, HR, your, I would say at large, your company. You can't rely on your company to give you the career that you want. You have to be proactive, not passive. Um, so the strategy here is to take 100% ownership of your career. And the way that I would do this in coaching and with my clients, and that I'll be pushing in the cohort product that I'm launching in July, is to help people develop a personalized mindset of complete ownership. And this is actually what mindset means for me. It's how do you create a mindset that gives you ownership. Um, Something as simple as like my career, my call, or my career, my decision, something that you can actually ingrain in your mind that you can say to yourself that encourages you to take 100% ownership of your career. That's the mistake I made, and that's the mistake that I see people make all the time. They're waiting for someone to tell them when they can be promoted, or what promotion to go for, or how to advance their career. You have to get proactive. Have to go and take action, and you have to go and ask for what you want. So secret three is the hidden timeline of promotions. Um, the secret here is that you have to communicate your goals 6 months in advance. Promotions are fundamentally a process, right? Um, and if you want to get promoted, say in July 2025, and you haven't talked to your company about it yet, the chances that you're going to get that promotion are very, very low. If you want to get promoted in July, you need to start the conversation with them in December or January. You need to give your company time to negotiate the promotion with you. And the main reason I think people fail to plan their careers in advance like this is because they don't create deadlines for themselves. Um, so often I hear people say, "Oh, I want to get promoted," and I say, "Oh, when?" And they go, "Oh, well, this sometime this year, I guess." There's no deadline. They don't know. They haven't set themselves a deadline. Set themselves. They haven't held themselves accountable to get promoted by a certain time. And deadlines are important because they create accountability and they force you to get proactive and they force you to plan in advance. And the harsh truth is, you won't get your promotion the moment you ask for it. Um, like I said, if you want a promotion in July and you ask for it in June, your company will create reasons why you can't be promoted in the next month. And this is the other part of the harsh truth. Companies love to create goalposts. Um, you ask for promotion, they say, okay, well, you need to actually to develop in these three areas, A, B, and C. So we need to see some progress in those areas. Go off and show us that you're developing in those areas. So maybe that takes 3 months. It takes 3 months to prove to them that you've developed in those areas. And then they say, okay, well, that's great, but actually we need to get this sign off from this leader. And they don't know you very well. So we actually need to build your visibility up with that leader. So, okay, well, there's a presentation next month that you can do, and then maybe you can present to them on this project the month after that. So another 2 months goes by. And then they say, okay, well, actually, someone in the team next to you is leaving now, and so there's a little bit of uncertainty, and so we just need to wait until the start of the new year to get you promoted. And all of a sudden, it's been 6 months since you actually asked for your promotion and you still haven't got it yet. And so I always say companies love to create goalposts and then they love to move them. And so it's critical that you give your company time to set you goalposts and for you to achieve them and for you to demonstrate and prove that you're ready and then be able to negotiate your career advancement. So if you want to get promoted, you should communicate that goal 6 months in advance. And the strategy here, beyond just communicating the goal and how you do that, is actually that you have to set yourself smart goals. You have to be very clear about your promotion goal. And the most important part of that, I would say, is the time deadline. Are you setting yourself a deadline by which to achieve the goal, which is going to force you to take action and force you to move your career along? And so here's an example of a weak goal, and here's an example of a smart goal. And these are the types of goals I often hear from clients at the start of our coaching process. I want to get promoted, and I'll know I'll be promoted when I can change my title on LinkedIn to senior brand manager. But my manager isn't that supportive. I haven't spoken to them yet. And I don't really mind where I get promoted. It could be here or it could be another company as long as I'm promoted. And yeah, I'd like it to be sometime this year, sometime in 2025. That's the kind of goal that I hear very, very often when I start a coaching process. And we often work together. The first thing we're doing is creating a smart goal. And so this is an example of the type of goal that I would work to create with that client. I want to be promoted to a senior brand manager on 80K a year with one report, with one line report. That's a very, very specific promotion ask. I'll know that I've secured it concretely when I have approval from the director and an offer in writing. That's how you really know that you've got the promotion. It's achievable because I have a strong performance rating in the last year and I've been developing strong relationships with the leadership. And it's relevant because I actually want to stay on my current brand. It's a great brand. It's growing and I'm very passionate about it. And I want to be promoted in December because that's exactly 18 months after my last promotion. That's a smart goal. And that's a very, very clear promotion goal. And it's very easy off the back of that to set yourself plans, to be clear about what you communicate to the business, to be consistent about what you communicate to the business, and to work in advance because you know you want to get promoted in December. And so very quickly, I'd just like to do a quick exercise with you guys, if you'd find that useful, to design your own SMART goal right now. And we can do this. So if you just have a piece of paper, or if you just open up Microsoft Word or Google Docs or Pages, and we're just going to create a very quick SMART goal that's going to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely. And I'm going to ask these questions, and you answer them quickly. And we'll just give you 20 seconds per question. So the first question for the SMART goal is describe your ideal promotion. Describe exactly your ideal promotion. Think about the title, think about what salary you would want, think about the split in that salary of the base salary and maybe a bonus or a car allowance or something, if that's an opportunity. Maybe there's line management responsibility. So maybe there's team responsibility or there's project responsibility. You want to be promoted into a role and you want to lead this part of your business or this part of your work. That's specific. Measurable. What milestones do you need to achieve on the way? What milestones will you need to achieve on your way to getting promoted? So think about who's going to need to sign off on your promotion. What are the conversations you're going to need to drive on your way to getting promoted? What work might you need to deliver to get promoted? So that's measurable. Achievable. How well positioned are you right now for success? How well positioned are you for success? You know, have you got a strong performance rating in your last calendar year? Have you been networking with the people, with the leadership in your team? Have you got strong relationships with people in critical teams alongside your team or the functions alongside your team? So that's achievable. Relevant. How relevant is this goal, this promotion goal, to your long-term goals? If you want to move into an entirely new function, say you want to move from marketing to sales, but this promotion goal is about staying in marketing, how relevant is that goal to your long-term goal? And timely, when do you want to achieve this by? When specifically do you want to get this promotion by? Okay, hopefully that's given you an opportunity to build a SMART goal out pretty quickly, and notice what was easy and notice what was hard. If you found something easy, that probably is an indicator that that's very important to you. You've already thought about that. That's high value to you. Um, Stuff that you found harder to answer, that's maybe where the gaps are. That's maybe where you need to spend a little bit more time. You need to work on developing that part of the goal to make it really smart. Okay, so that was secret number 3. And here is secret number 4, my personal favorite. Visibility equals opportunity. And the secret is, the more visible you are, the more opportunities you attract. And I shouldn't have said get here, because actually it's not about get. It's visibility doesn't get you the promotion, it attracts the promotion. And I'll explain a little bit what I mean by that. But the secret here is that 70% of all promotions are opportunity based, not merit based. So what do I mean by that? 70% of promotions, or studies have found that 70% of promotions are created because someone leaves or someone moves on. So that means they're not deliberate, they're unplanned, and they're time sensitive. Those are some of the key features of an opportunity-based promotion. 70% of all promotions are like that. Someone leaves or someone gets promoted up, and so a gap comes up, and there's an opportunity to fill it, and the business has to fill it quite quickly. And I think it's something like only 20% of companies actually do succession planning. So when those opportunities come up, only 20% of companies have someone already planned to move into the next role. That is your opportunity. That is your opportunity to be the first person they think of when that opportunity comes up. And that's why most promotions are opportunity based. And that's why visibility is so important. The harsh truth here is that there's a line of people in any company waiting to be promoted at any level, right? And the more junior you are, the more people are waiting. Um, so if you want to get promoted to, say, a senior manager level, there might be 7 people at your company who want that promotion, and they're all queuing up. Visibility is how you jump to the front of that line. The most visible person will be the first person considered for that opportunity. That's why visibility equals opportunity, because the opportunity comes up and the leadership scrambles and they say, oh, who could possibly fill this opportunity? And the person who's most visible will be the first person they think of, and that person has a massive advantage right at the start of the process. So you want to make yourself visible. And the strategy here is to make a habit of promoting your own work. And I did a post this week on Thursday, which was 16 habits to increase your visibility at work. And I would encourage everyone to go and look at that and see what plays to your strengths. It's not that every one of them is going to be right for you, but notice the things that you could start doing better to drive your visibility, and make a habit of promoting your own work. Visibility isn't a one-off. It's not doing one presentation and then thinking, okay, well, that was a good bit of visibility. That's all I need to do this quarter. Visibility is something you have to continuously be working on. And so that was secret 4. The more visible you are, the more opportunities that you will attract, because you'll put yourself at the front of the line when opportunities come up. Great, that is opportunity 4 of the 6. And now I'm going to tease you guys, but I'm not going to do secret number 5 or secret number 6. I'm going to ask that you go to my LinkedIn and subscribe to 6 Secrets to Six Figure Promotions, and you can get the final 2. Number 5 is the one change you need to make to secure your promotion. So once you're visible and once you're first in line, what's the one behavior change you can make that will secure your promotion? It's really about what you do. And number 6, if I can remember, number 6 is networking for influence. And this is really about the moment the decision is made, you need to have networked the people of influence, the people who are around the person who makes the final decision on the promotion. That's the critical part of the final stage of the promotion is influencing and networking the decision maker, the person who actually says this person gets it. And what I want to do, Wilson, am I okay to still 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes? Give me a nod, yeah. What I would like to do instead is actually do some live coaching with you guys. So hopefully earlier you built a SMART goal, or you built part of a SMART goal for a promotion opportunity or a career advancement opportunity that you want to have. And I just want to take 5 minutes to actually do some rapid or lightning coaching with you live on that SMART goal. So go back to the SMART goal, on Microsoft Word or on a piece of paper, and just remind yourself what the specific part of the goal. What did you want to achieve? What is the goal? And think about what you wanted to achieve in that goal and when you wanted to achieve it by. So just write that at the top or type that at the top of the page. And then I'm going to ask you a series of questions. And I want you just to write for 30 seconds some quick notes against each of these questions. And through these 12 questions, we're going to navigate you through some live coaching to provide you with a strategy. Okay, here we go. So think about your goal. And the first question is, what is important about this goal? What is important about this goal? Why does it matter to you? What is important about the goal? Okay, number 2, what benefits will you gain if you achieve the goal? So if you're successful and you achieve your goal, what benefit will it bring you? And number 3, what will it mean to you to achieve it? What will it mean to you to achieve this goal? So think about what you'll be proud of. Think about the value, what the value is to you. What does it mean to you to achieve it? Okay, number 4. What obstacles are there to achieving the goal? What are some of the obstacles to achieving your goal? Number 5, what resources can you draw on to solve these obstacles? What resources can you draw on to solve these obstacles? Think about your strengths. Think about your behaviors. Think about your skill set. Think about your energy. Think about your relationships. What resources can you draw on to solve those obstacles? Okay, number 6. What support will you need to overcome it? So what support will you need to overcome those obstacles? Okay, number 7. What are your options? What are your options on how to move forward? What are your options to move forward on this goal? Write them all down. Think of something obvious. Think of something. What's the crazy option? What's the crazy way? If nothing's holding you back, what's the craziest way you could just get started on this goal? What are your options? Okay, number 8. Which option fits your strengths the most? Which option fits your strengths the most? Okay, what would be the first step to take? What would be the first step to take? What would you do to start taking action on this goal? Okay, when? Question 10. When could you take the first step? When will you actually take that first step? Okay. Number 11. When will you? So we just asked when could you? Now I'm asking when will you? When will you do it? Make a commitment to yourself. When will you take action? What day? What time? How long? When will you take action? And number 12, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being as committed as you could possibly be, how committed are you to taking action on this goal? Taking that first step out of 10. Okay, well, hopefully you've got a goal, and what you'll have experienced there is just probably it's the most basic formula we can get to for coaching, through an understanding of what is the goal and why is it important to you. So really trying to go deep on the goal. What is the benefit? What is the value? Why is it important? Then we went into what are the obstacles and how can you overcome them? So that's kind of surveying the land, like what are the obstacles? What are the resources? What support do I need? Then we looked at your options. We looked at hopefully the most obvious option. We looked at maybe a crazy option. We looked at an option which fits your strengths the most. And then finally, we came to taking action. What will you do? When could you take the first step? How committed are you? So that's just a pretty basic but rapid lightning approach, as we say, to a coaching experience. That can be what coaching feels like. And coaching often is more about someone asking you questions that force you to create awareness and generate responsibility. That's really what coaching is about, helping you to raise your awareness of something and make decisions to take responsibility for taking action. Cool, thank you guys. That was 4 of the 6 secrets to six-figure promotions, and hopefully we've um, set you up for success on a SMART goal, and given you a little bit of an insight into how you could tackle it and how you could take your first steps. And yeah, I'd really be happy to answer any questions. And if you want to find anything, again, I would just really encourage people to go and subscribe to Six Secrets to Six-Figure Promotions. It's a 7-day email course. You can find it on my LinkedIn page, and I dive into these secrets in even more detail than I did today. Oh, no, I can't hear you, buddy.
Oh,
Oh, now you.
trying to.
Yeah, yeah, now we
Can you
can
hear
hear
me
you.
now?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you so much. That was a roller coaster for me as well. And I'm just thinking, oh my God, how some of us typically just wait for promotions to happen, right? We're waiting to be lucky. Um, and I've gone through this where I don't even ask. I'm hoping that they see what I'm doing and then ask, hey, Wilson, are you ready for this promotion? But you just really listing out these things are quite helpful. So I'll be checking the charts, both on LinkedIn and here on Riverside to see if there are any questions, and then I will bring that up. But while waiting, from your coaching experience,
hmm.
what do you think is the most difficult step that people typically face to getting the promotion they want? I know there are a number of things you've mentioned, but what is that one step that they need to really focus on to get things rolling? If probably you share, there's a question, but answer this and then I
Yeah.
will ask the question on the chat. Yeah.
Um, I think I think the biggest thing is that permission piece. I think it's taking ownership. Um, I think companies are amazing at convincing you that there's these rules that you can't break. That, oh, it's done a certain way here. I heard that all the time in my career. Oh, well, it's done a certain way here. We don't do that here. No, you have to be in your role for 2 years. That was a classic one. No, you need to do some more rotations at your level. You need to do some sales experience as well. Like, even though you want to be a marketer, you need to do some sales experience. Um, Companies try to control the progression and promotion process so that they can manage people, and understandably, right, because they've got a lot of people to manage and they want to manage turnover and they want to manage costs and things like that. But because of that, you'll often be told things that are described as a rule, like, we don't do that here, or you can't do that, or no, you're not ready. And I think the biggest mistake people can make is to just accept that at face value, just to take it and be like, oh, okay, well, I'm not ready, or, oh, okay, I have to go and get more experience, or, oh, I have to just wait until 2 years in my role. Um, my biggest lesson throughout my career was that if I just took ownership of the process myself, 9 times out of 10, I would get the result that I wanted. And it was hard, and you had to be kind of relentlessly positive and relentlessly proactive and strategic, not just hoping that it would happen, really strategic about how you created opportunities. But it is possible if you have a strategy. And I think that's why strategy is so important, because it makes it manageable, and it makes things more predictable for you so that you don't feel that you're taking risks with your career. Because I think a lot of people don't want to upset the ship, or they don't want to, they don't want to upset other people, or they don't want to damage relationships with bosses. That's a lot of people are worried about taking risks in their career, and actually, I think I think if you really you've got to, if you want something, you've got to go after it. You've got to take ownership of the process. And all the time I was told, you're not ready, you're not ready, you're not ready. And I just applied for jobs and I told people I was ready, and I believed I was ready, and I got them. And then I proved that I was ready when I had them. So just believe in yourself, confidence, that's the biggest challenge, and take ownership. Now I can't hear you, buddy.
All right,
There you go.
sorry. Yeah, I guess you can hear me now.
Yeah.
I was just saying you've already highlighted an important aspect of yeah, why people stay stuck waiting for permission. I fell into that trap multiple times. But someone asks a very good question. It says, how much risk is worth taking in pursuing or going after that promotion, internal or external? So you don't want to ruffle some feathers. Maybe your boss has said, hey, no. So is it worth taking the risk to actually ask for that promotion within the organization? And then secondly, I have a good job, right? And just kind of paraphrasing, and I want to be promoted, is it worth the risk looking for that externally as well? So internally, should I keep asking, is it worth it? Would that not get me in trouble? And externally, should I start doing that? And what if they find out that I'm applying for a job somewhere else? Yeah. So
Yeah. Um,
that's the question.
yeah. There's no, there is no risk to asking for a promotion. Um, no one's going to punish you for being ambitious. No one's going to punish you for wanting to get ahead. And I think that's really important, is to wanting to advance in your career is a positive thing. It's a net positive thing for you and for the company. The company wants ambitious people. The company wants people that want us want to be invested in the company, that want to develop in the company, that want to add more value in the company. And I think that's when you're negotiating with your employer, and that was one of the secrets, right? Your career is negotiation. The most important thing is to be relentlessly positive. It shouldn't, a negotiation isn't an argument. It shouldn't be a conflict. If it becomes a conflict, something's gone wrong. You have to continuously represent what you want as something positive. Um, you know, an opportunity for skill development, an opportunity for you to add more value to the company, for you to take on more responsibility, um, another opportunity for you to do more that's going to return value to the company. That's all a positive thing, and I think you have to keep bringing the narrative of the negotiation back to that. If someone says, "Well, why are you asking for promotion already?" Well, why is this a bad thing? I want to add more value to the company. I want to work harder for you. I want to do more for you. That's the way you have to position it, and I don't think there is any risk in that. Um, if you if you if you're positioning it as something for you, as a selfish interest, that will often be what ruffles feathers. If you say, "Well, I deserve this promotion," or "I should have been promoted 6 months ago," or you know, "You're holding me back," something like that. When you start to present the promotion as something that's only in your interest, that's when often it's going to deteriorate. But you want to constantly position the promotion as something that is a positive for the company and adding value to the company. And that's why we talked about value is leverage. The more value you have, the more value you can offer, the more leverage you have. And in terms of the external piece, there's no law, there's no rule that says that you can't look at other jobs. Um, in fact, I think people continuously underestimate the benefit of their company knowing that they're looking for other jobs. And everyone does it. Everyone is doing it all the time. Let's not
Don't want to
pretend
get
that
in trouble.
people don't want to get in trouble. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, be smart about it, right? Like, don't
Mm.
telegraph it. Don't don't research jobs in the office with your computer on, like so everyone can see it. Um, Go into a small room, do it at home, do it on the weekends. But actually, this is really important, because this is what leverage is. Like, you hold value inside your company and outside of your company, and what you do outside of your company can create leverage for you inside your company. And so one of the main the the moment I realized about leverage was the first promotion I ever wanted to go after was assistant brand manager at L'Oreal to a brand manager, and I slaved for a whole year to get that promotion, and I over delivered. I was doing like 16 to 18-hour days. I was achieving results. We were growing like 16% on the brand. I was getting incredible feedback from most of the different functions. And at the end of the year, my director said, "You're not ready, Alec. You're not ready yet." And what she was actually just saying was, "It's only been a year. We can't promote you yet. A year isn't long enough. You need to stay in the role longer." And I said, "But I've done all this, I've done all that." Da, da, da. And she said, "No, no, you're not ready. You're not ready." So I went and got a job offer externally. And I came back to them and I said, I've got a job offer externally. And within 2 weeks, she offered me a full promotion with a 40% pay increase instantly. That is leverage. That was when I was like, okay,
Wow.
the only difference between the conversation we had at the end of the year and now is that I've told you that another company is willing to pay me this amount of money to have me. And now instantly you see my value. And
Yep.
instantly I'm ready for that promotion. That is leverage. Okay, that is the power of leverage. And so I'm not I'm not encouraging you to always be applying for roles externally. I think that's, you don't always want to be pulling that card, but you have value, and knowing that you have value inside your company and outside of your company is critical to driving your own confidence and driving your own belief in when you are ready. If you can go and get a job offer, or if you can get to the final round of a job interview at the level you want outside of your company, that's that's good enough to tell you that you're ready. And often, actually, you don't have to go all the way. You can ask for a promotion internally, and you can go through all the steps, and you can prove yourself, and you can do the things of getting visibility and networking, and if they still won't promote you, then go and engage in some process externally. And what I used to do was I used to tell them, by the way, I want a promotion, I want to add more value here, but we don't seem to be able to agree that. So I'm engaged in some processes outside, and I want to let you know that I've got to the final step in the final stage in the process. It's not saying you've got the job offer,
Nice.
it's just saying I've got the final
Yep.
stage, right? And then it forces them to make a decision. Do they want to keep you or not? Does that reframe your value to the company? And you'd be amazed how many times they go, okay, well, actually we can sort something out here. And then you can negotiate, it's negotiation.
Power of leverage. I love that. And this is a smart smart way to approach these conversations. Like you said, it shouldn't be an argument. It's everyone stating their fact and their value and then supporting data to say, I'm due for this. I'm worthy of this. It's going to be beneficial on both ends. Very important. A question here, how does this work for transitioning to a different company? Um, yeah, so that's the question. Just because we have 3 more minutes to the end of the call, that's the first one. How does this strategy work if you want to transition from one company to the next? That's question number one. Number two is if you do take that step, that bold step, and get a rejection, getting back on track in your previous role can be tough. So you asked for a promotion, it didn't go as planned. Obviously, demotivation comes in. Would you recommend waiting? Um, do okay, let me get that well. Would you recommend waiting, doing this in an unofficial capacity or setting or in the office? Okay. So what this person is asking is, I apply for the job, I don't get it. It affects obviously my motivation. So what would you advise they do? Should they wait for somebody to recommend them, right, for the job, like gives them more, probably more, um, the chances of getting it increase if somebody does that recommendation than you just going for it? Or should you do this in the office? Okay, this question is not very clear, but let me try to figure it out. But the first one is everything
Yeah.
you've said, how does this work for transitioning to a different company? Yeah.
Yeah. How does this work for transitioning to a different company in terms of using leverage, I guess? I mean, moving company is a little bit more clear cut because there's a job offer is posted. So immediately you can understand, does the job offer fit my criteria? Does it fit my SMART goal? Is it offering the promotion that you want specifically? Is the salary band the right one? Does it have line management responsibilities? Is it on a business that interests you? So you can see from the start whether the promotion is something that you want. Um, as you go through that process, increasingly you will demonstrate your value to them. That is actually what you are doing in a job application process. You are demonstrating value. And as you do that, they're obviously assessing your value against other applicants. And you're trying to get a sense of, you're trying to play your maximum hand, I would say. You're trying to get the best possible deal you can get for yourself in that process. And so the first thing I'd say is you have to ask questions about the process. When you're in a process, ask, how many steps are there to this process? Um, who makes the final decision in the process? Um, you want to know if you're going into an interview and if it's the final interview. You really want to know that. You want to know who are the people on that call. You want to know what their roles are, and you want to know who has the decision making power. Um, and you want to know, you can ask another company how many people have how many people are still in the process. They might not give you a completely straight answer, but they're probably going to tell you, well, that you're in the final few. So you're going to have a good sense of where you are positioned, and the more insights you can generate around the stronger your position, the more you can use your leverage. Um, so, and then the way that you will use leverage in that situation is you can still use your old company. Even if I hated my current company and I went for a promotion elsewhere, I would never tell them that. I would never tell them. I'd be like, oh, they love me over there, and it's a great company. I really enjoy it, and they're thinking about promoting me right now. Actually, you wanna create the opposing leverage so that
Mm.
you can say, yeah, I think they've noticed I've been going for interviews, and um, I think they're working up an offer. And often you can just say, well, I think if you offer me something, they will counter. But look, I want to work for you. And again, it's that relentless positivity. I want to work for you. I love this company. This is why I'm passionate about it. This is what I can bring to your team. But we need to make it the best. We need to negotiate an offer that is right for me and it's right for you. That's how you want to position it. Win-win. Um, yeah.
Thank you. A question here, an interesting one, by the way. This question says, would you bring up this conversation at a dinner or an event or party, or would you recommend doing it officially in the office? This conversation around promotion. Is there what is the ideal situation or scenario to bring up such conversation? Can it be done at any time, or should you gauge the moment, read the room?
Hmm.
Your thoughts on this?
Yeah. Look, there's definitely getting promoted is a formal process. So I would lean towards more formal environments. That's not to say that like that informal environments can be great for generating insights and letting people know where you stand and having an informal conversation. But an informal conversation is not an official conversation. So I would say yes, bring up what you want to discuss with people at dinners or an event or at a party if it can be advantageous, or if that person might be more relaxed, or if you can get some insights from them. Um, do all of those things. That's smart. That's smart insight gathering. But when you actually make your ask for a promotion, you want it to be in a work context, in a professional context, and you want to communicate it to the right person, your manager or the director. You want to make a very clear ask, and you want them to make a formal response. And you want to, and I would say the actual biggest thing that I would recommend everyone does is put it in writing. So many times you will discuss promotions, progression, advancement with your company, and it doesn't get put in writing, and then it slips and it slips. Oh, well, you verbally told me that I would get promoted in July, and now it's August, and you still haven't got it done. And have you talked to this person? I don't know, and it's not in writing. So when the biggest piece of advice I'd actually given this topic is put stuff in writing at the key milestones. So when you communicate your desire for promotion, have the conversation verbally, but then send a follow-up email that says, it was really great to talk to you. We had this discussion. This was the topic. I communicated my ask to get promoted. Or if you have a meeting with a director halfway through the process, it was great to meet you. I enjoyed the conversation. We discussed my promotion. This is what you asked me to develop. That is so important. When that piece around communicating your goal and how companies like to create goalposts, one of the biggest mistakes people make is they don't get those goal posts in writing. you want them to communicate what they need from you in writing so that you can go back in writing and say, I have delivered all these things, now give me the promotion.
Interesting. And yeah, in writing, I think most times we just have casual conversations. Hey, boss, I'm thinking of a promotion. Can
Yeah.
you? I was like, oh, let's talk about it. But um, yeah, thanks for sharing. And just because of our time, this has been a wonderful session. And expect more questions in the chat on LinkedIn. Please feel free when you have time, Alec, to just go through and then see if you can respond to some of those questions.
Yes. If
Thank
I
you,
can just
everyone,
say,
for joining. Yeah,
yeah, if I can just say,
yeah. Uh,
Wilson, everyone, if you have more questions, please just send me a connection request on LinkedIn with a little message saying I joined the webinar, and then I'll accept, and you can ask me as many questions as you want in follow up as well.
Thank you for that offer. So please send a request to Alec and send your questions. He's more than happy to answer them. This brings us to the end of this month's webinar. Next month as well, we'll be having another guest who will be sharing things around productivity this time. She's a seasoned productivity coach, and more information will go out to send emails. She's currently based also in the US. So it seems we're having more people from the US giving our talks. And she will be talking on productivity and how to improve your performance across board, be a top performer. Till we meet again next time, thank you so much. Thank you, Alec. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone, and see you in next month's webinar. Bye for now.